Series against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Last night, the Angels really abused the Blue Jays. They've split the first two games, and John Farrell, unfortunately, has received some bad news. His third baseman, rookie Brett Laurie, will be lost for the season. He's out with a fractured finger.
During batting practice today, you can see how he gets his hand a little bit too close to the baseball while he was taking ground balls from Brian Butterfield, and it looked like it got right on the index finger. At first, they were talking about him breaking his nail, excuse me, not his index finger, his middle finger. So he is lost for the rest of the season. He's been placed on the disabled list, and Edwin Encarnacion will get the start at third base tonight.
Take a look at the Angels lineup as Mike Scioscia continues to keep his fingers crossed. They need some help, no question about it. They are 3.5 back in the wild card race, 84 and 71. Meiser Sturas, top of the order. Eric Ibar, Bobby Abreu, Torrey Hunter. Mark Trumbo has homered in each of the first two games of this series. Alberto Callaspo, the switch hitter at third base. Former Blue Jay Vernon Wells in left. Peter Borges and Jeff Mathis, the catcher, behind the plate tonight.
Tonight's starting pitcher is brought to you by Icy Hot. Pain is no match for the Icy Hot patch. Dustin McGowan takes the mound for the fourth time since his return from right shoulder surgery. Pitched 5 solid innings versus the Yankees his last time out. He allowed 3 runs and just 3 hits, and I think it was his sharpest outing since coming back from the minor leagues. He hasn't faced the Angels since May of 2008. That's the only time he beat them in that game in 4 career starts.
Meiser Sturas steps in. And we are set. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. And it's a strike right down the heart of the plate. Sturas did not start in last night's game. He played third base in the opener. It's the pitch up and away. It's a ball and a strike. On the ground, Lynn back at first base, shovels to McGowan. Sturas is retired.
McGowan has a very good sinker, so the infield is going to be very busy when he is out on the mound. The defense for John Farrell's club this evening: Eric Thames, Colby Rasmussen, Jose Bautista in the outfield, Encarnacion, McCoy, Johnson, and Lynn third to first across the infield. The battery will be J.P. Arancibia and Dustin McGowan. Edwin Encarnacion gets the start at third base. He made 5 of his 8 errors at third base in the month of April. And his last error was May the 23rd at third base, so he'll probably be the starting third baseman the rest of the season.
That's interesting how things turn around and how there's a domino effect now with the opportunities. With Encarnacion probably going to play a lot of third base. That opens up the DH spot. You got to figure that Lowen's going to get a few more bats. David Cooper is the DH tonight, so the opportunities because of the injury will be something that those players look forward to. Unfortunately, that's the second time this season that Brett Laurie's had a broken bone. He got hit by a pitch at the end of May down in AAA Las Vegas, and it's a disappointing finish to his season.
Really opened up a lot of eyes with what he can do on the field. It certainly can help the team defensively at third base, but anxious to watch him. I love watching him play night in and night out.
You can bet he is disappointed. He has really made an impression. You can see his right middle finger has a splint on it, and he will be relegated to a spectator for the rest of the season. Ball is drilled down the right field line. That'll go all the way to the wall. Ibar is headed for second. Bautista gets the ball back in, and Ibar reaches with his 33rd double of the season. Comes with 1 out here in the first.
Ibar has a very nice little short swing from the left side of the plate. Had 4 extra base hits in the game before he came here to Rogers Center against this Blue Jay pitching staff. This time rips the ball into right field for extra bases. Plenty of speed by Ibar. How about that? 33 doubles for their shortstop.
Very productive offensive player. He's established a career high with home runs and RBIs. Veteran Bobby Abreu back in the lineup. He did not play last night with Brett Cecil starting that ball game. First pitch strike, bottom of the zone. Abreu picked up his 30th double against the Orioles on Sunday. Gives him 30 doubles for the 12th time in his career. He's been a gap-to-gap line drive type of hitter.
Power numbers are down this year for Bobby Abreu. He's only hit 7 home runs, contributing 55 runs. Relegated more to the DH duty this year. There's his last 50 games. 20 home runs, 25 home runs. That was a mark that Abreu was good for every year. 100 RBIs, 25 stolen bases, and a good approach at the plate.
You could put him down for 20 steals every season as well. He has 21 this year. Good pitch, just missed the inside corner. McGowan's made some adjustments to his delivery. When we first saw him, when he rejoined the ball club, his hands were going over his head, but he has really minimized the movement now.
Just wanting to simplify his mechanics, his windup, trying to find a consistent release point. Out of the stretch, it's still the same.
Good breaking ball. Abreu strikes out.
Let's take a look at the scouting report brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. Dustin McGowan simplified that windup so he can get the ball out just a little bit sooner and get it up so he can work on a downward plane. Finishing touches. He's got a very good two-seamer. It's got an extra gear to it when it gets towards home plate. The heat is back for Dustin McGowan. He has been throwing 94 to 96 miles an hour with his fastball. So the arm strength is back there after a couple of surgeries.
Veteran Torrey Hunter bats with 2 outs and a man in scoring position. Looks at 1 outside. Hunter is 4 for 9 against Dustin McGowan, but you could pretty much discount that. It's been a long time since he last saw McGowan. 2008, last time McGowan pitched against the Angels.
And that was the only game that he beat him in 4 career starts.
I can tell you one thing. These games are going to seem like they take forever for Brett Lawrie now. Sitting there on the bench. He's liable to drive everybody nuts on that bench.
It's a bad feeling. You know, and nobody felt worse as that ball gets away from J.P. Arencibia. Looked like a cutter that got away from it. Looks like it might have got his meat hand.
Yeah, I think so. Watch his bare hand as he tries to block this ball. Looked like it hit him above the wrist on that bone right on top of your wrist.
John Farrell's going to come out and talk to his young catcher again, right off of his right forearm.
Trying to get the feeling back in that arm. You go down and block a ball and you expose your forearm to that baseball. And then, of course, if you feel that inside edge of your arm, that bone runs right along the surface. And, boy, you get hit right on that knob of that knuckle on the inside, and it'll bark at you for a while.
You know, the Angels are taking a look at this, and they'll watch J.P. Arencibia throw just a little bit. It's a team that's built on a lot of speed, and they might try and take advantage of that right there. Run just a little bit more. Arencibia has been throwing a lot better.
Mike Scioscia knows what that feels like. He was back there his whole life. And his thought right now, rub some dirt on it, JP. Doing what? Breaking ball in there for a strike. Ibar with the double. Came with 1 out, moved to third on the wild pitch. Got another good breaking ball. McGowan gives up a 1 out double, but strikes out Abreu and Torrey Hunter. Good start to his ball game. The breaking ball gets Torrey Hunter. Brett Lawrie's season has come to an end. He broke a middle finger on his right hand. Now you see J.P. Arancibia going down toward the clubhouse with assistant trainer Hap Hudson. He got hit on the right forearm by a ball in the dirt. John Farrell talking with Bruce Walton and Don Wakamatsu about the option should J.P. Arancibia have to leave the game. McCoy, Thames, Bautista, top three in the order. Mike McCoy's done a good job leading off. Then Lynn, Encarnacion, Kelly Johnson. J.P. Arancibia, Colby Rasmussen, David Cooper in the ninth spot DHing tonight.
That will be the lineup that Dan Herron faces tonight. He looking to try and run down both Texas and Boston, so they need a good start tonight from Dan Herron. He was hit hard on Friday. His last time to the mound, 7 runs, 7 hits, 5 innings at Baltimore, and certainly some run support would help Herron. They've only scored 1 run in his last 3 road games.
One thing you'll notice with Dan Herron, he works quickly. Batters better step in the box thinking about being ready. And he loves to rock and fire.
Swing mode you have to have with Herron because he can throw strikes anytime in the count. He can pick at the corners. He can move the ball in and out, take something off. And he does a little something like CC Sabathia does, where he hesitates a little bit in his delivery right there.
Reached for and bounced to second. Miser Asturias at second tonight. 1 down.
Tries to throw off the batter. The timing defensively for the Angels. Some good throwing arms in the outfield. Wells, Borges, and Hunter. We're now with 15 outfield assists. Hunter in right field. Alberto Callaspo, Eric Ibar, Miser Asturias, and Mark Trumbull on the infield. Mathis behind the plate. A couple of errors, thrown out 28% of the runners. And there's Eric Ibar. He's got the 3rd most total chances as a shortstop in the American League.
Eric Thames, he's 1 for 3 against Herron. Dan Herron works down in the zone. Really does a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. Has allowed just 18 home runs this season. But it's interesting when you look at this lineup for the Blue Jays tonight. There are 7 home runs in the lineup tonight. Thames has 1 of those. And the hitter behind him, Jose Bautista, hit 2 off Herron.
I think that's a byproduct of Herron being around the plate. He will challenge you. When he gets up in a game, he'll come right after you and use his fastball. So home runs happen.
Line to left. Vernon Wells in left field makes the catch. 2 down.
While we have a minute, let's take a look at the scouting report. A little bit closer look at Dan Herron. He's an innings eater, certainly. He hasn't pitched under 200 innings in 7 years. He's got control with 5 different pitches. Fastball, the curveball, he's got a cutter, a little bit of a split and a changeup, and he'll throw them anytime in the count. He's got more starts this year than walks, Buck. This is his 33rd start of the season. He's only walked 30 batters all season long.
And there's a strike down and away. Tell you what, managers love that, but more importantly, infielders love that. He doesn't walk anybody, so he always keeps the infielders engaged. They're on their toes. Here's a guy that makes X's on the corners. He sinks the ball inside and then cuts it inside and does the same on the outside part of the plate.
He has that ability to do that, but you know what else he can do? He can spin the ball. Good curveball, good cutter. There are his numbers. His ERA is inflated a little bit, but his 1-loss record is excellent, 6-2.
He's never lost at Rogers Center. He's 3-0 in 5 career starts. But you peel back the numbers a little bit. He's got a 6.47 ERA in this building. Hey, the numbers we mentioned about Bautista: 2 home runs in 11 at bats. High fly ball left field. Vernon Wells on the track at the wall. And he will make the catch. Bautista just got under it, making a bid for a homer. Dan Herron has a quick 1-2-3 first.
Weekdays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
JP Arencibia is back behind the plate. He's got a little padding on his right forearm. He took a ball that was in the dirt and it hit him on that right forearm. So he went in and got some padding to help him get through this game. Can't take catchers out of the game. They don't come out of the game. Come on. Tough guys. Mark Trumbo goes after that first pitch. Kelly Johnson waits on it in time to get Trumbo first down in the second. Kelly Johnson's done a nice job defensively since he's joined the ball club, and I think he's made a positive impression. He's tough on double plays, does a nice job hanging in there, and he has a strong arm.
Learning the league a little bit better now when it comes to positioning and reading the bats of the players from the American League. Also getting to know his pitching staff, which is important. You spend your whole career in the National League, not with these types of teams. You got to get out there and have an idea of where that ball's going to be hit off of your staff.
Alberto Callaspo. Callaspo in last night's game continues to wear out the Blue Jays. 3 hits. He was officially 3 for 4. He had a sac fly in the 4th inning. Scored a run and drove in a pair.
John Farrell was talking about the glove work of Callaspo yesterday. He wasn't talking about the offense that he provided for him with the bat. He was talking about the defense and the runs that he was able to save with his glove work.
Strike 3 call. Boy, I love that pitch. An 0-2 fastball down and away. Chris Woodward and Vernon Wells have been going back and forth at each other, and now Ricky Romero's into it. That's what old teammates do to one another. Last night, Vernon was making fun of Chris Woodward's ears. He had cups on his ears, so a little payback tonight.
Yeah.
And Woody got some support from Ricky Romero.
I don't think he can stop laughing. Oh, man. There's nothing like baseball humor.
I tell you what, it's so inside, too. You got to have an idea what they're talking about, and you can see Vernon looking over in the deck.
Still laughing.
Ricky's thinking, we got you, man.
And now he's got to get out there and face McGowan.
Oh, boy, you've seen that from your teammates across the diamond. You get traded a couple of times, and they'll do that. Everybody's having a laugh. Jared Weaver thinks it's a pretty good one. 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs here as Vernon Wells bats for the first time tonight. Wells had a home run and a double last night. His home run to left, double just short of going out of the ballpark in center. Well, McGowan's got good sink on his fastball tonight.
Oh, he certainly does. I was talking with Bruce Walton the other day about that sinker, and I told him, I said, Bruce, I didn't know Dustin McGowan had that much sink on his fastball. And he says, oh, yeah. When we had A.J. Burnett and we had Roy Halladay, between the 3 of them, it was Dustin McGowan who had the better sinker out of all those guys.
Another strikeout for McGowan. He's had a pair of strikeouts in each of the first 2 innings. And he's got a lot of ribbing to take from his former teammates. Toronto hits in today's game. You can win amazing prizes from Sharp, including Canada's largest LCD TV, a 70-inch Sharp outdoors. Enter online at hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp makes bigger, better. Ricky Romero, Chris Woodward enjoying giving Vernon Wells the gears when he had his first at bat. Dan Herron misses with the first pitch, down and away to Adam Lind. Lind, another one of the Blue Jays in the lineup that has a home run against Dan Herron. Ball on the strike. Adam Lind has had a good run against the Angels. 23 ribbies in 29 games for his career. Off speed pitch, past the diving Trumbo into right. Herron had him out in that front foot, but he was able to get enough of it to drive it past Trumbo.
When he is hitting well, he is staying back just a little bit longer on off-speed pitches. Pitchers trying to do that to Lindy. That looked like a ball that was away from him. He's able to stay back just enough and get it off of the glove of Trumbo for the Blue Jays' first hit. Boy, what a tandem that Bautista and Lind have formed over the last couple of years, production-wise.
Better than any duo in baseball for home runs and RBIs. Just a great combination of power, middle of your order. Talk about a potent 3-4 punch.
I bet if you go around baseball and ask people about that, they would have no idea.
Edwin Encarnacion is quickly in a hole, 0-2. And you see all the home runs the Blue Jays have against Dan Herron. He works down, and there are a lot of good low ball hitters in this lineup.
Encarnacion's one of them. Adam Lind is another one. Jose Bautista.
So that's old catch-22. What do you do as a pitcher? Do you pitch to your strengths, or do you pitch to the weaknesses of the hitter?
I think you always pitch to your strengths. For me, you know, if your strengths are down, I think you have to do that, because then you're asking a pitcher to do something he's not comfortable with. And that's when mistakes start to happen.
Hot shot to short. Isturis takes it at second, turns it quickly. Good feed from Ibar, and Isturis turned it very quickly over the bag at second.
Ibar is so good at shortstop. He's been involved now in 101 double plays this year, the most by any shortstop in the American League. He's got great range, soft hands, a good arm. That time gave Isturis an excellent feed to finish off that double play.
Isturis played third base in the opener of this series. Kelly Johnson makes the first pitch breaking ball. Johnson has a real good idea about what he's dealing with in Dan Herron. Played second base behind him at Arizona. That time Herron crossed him up and threw one upstairs.
There's another low ball hitter, I think, and Kelly Johnson slashing the ball the other way.
High, deep drive to right. This ball is off the top of the wall. Johnson headed for second. Hunter's throw is offline, and Kelly Johnson has a 2-out double. He just missed hitting a home run off Dan Herron.
He faced him before when he was in the National League. Dan Herron, you mentioned him with Arizona and also with St. Louis Cardinals. Just a whisker from going out of the ballpark. He's had now 4 hits and 8 at-bats versus Dan Herron. Halfway up the wall, and he hustles into second base with that extra base hit.
2-out double. J. Pierre and Sebia. First pitch strike from Herron. just off the plate. Angels do a great job with their catchers of making sure they set up appropriately on particular pitches. That time Mathis moved way off the plate with the slider, and Aaron had an easy target.
And it all depends on that pitcher that day. Where does he want that catcher to set up? Sometimes pitchers want him to stay in the middle of the plate, and they'll just aim for their shin guards. Other times they'll want him way off the plate. It's all a comfort level, and that's the communication factor that you'll get between catchers and pitchers.
Went right back outside with that cutter in. Strikes out J.P. Arancibia. A couple of hits in the inning, but the Blue Jays strand a base runner. Major League Baseball is asking you to cast a vote for Roberto Clemente Award for the player that best represents sportsmanship and community involvement. Ricky Romero is actively involved in the Jays Care Foundation and Blue Jays community efforts. Served as honorary division captain of Rookie League, speaking with several hundreds of young people from at-risk neighborhoods. Ricky has made a donation of $100,000 to the Jays Care Foundation. Vote for Ricky Romero at BlueJays.com. And Ricky is truly involved, and he does something I've never seen another player do. He catches the ceremonial first pitch every game here at Rogers Center when he's not starting. I mean, that's phenomenal to be that involved to make sure that that person throwing out that first pitch throws it to a big leaguer, and none other than Ricky Romero.
And he doesn't just go out there, catch the ball, thank you very much, and leave. He goes out there, he takes pictures, he signs autographs, he's very involved with who's out there, and he's right now he's involved with Vernon Wells still.
Torrey Hunter getting involved. Everybody's having a good time at it. Getting on Vernon Wells. He said, I'll get you back. Tomorrow's another day. Ball players have long memories. Peter Borges batting in the 8th spot. Borges was the leadoff hitter in last night's game against Brett Cecil. Had 3 hits. I think this guy is one of those guys that eventually could hit anywhere in the lineup. You really like his speed at the top of the order. And they drop him down with McGowan, the right-hander, starting this game tonight.
He'll have to develop just a little bit more.
Drives this ball towards left center. That's going to get over the head of Eric Thames and go all the way to the wall. This ball is bouncing around, and Borges goes to third base with a record-setting triple. That is his 10th triple of the season. And Peter Borges becomes the first Angel player to record 25 doubles, 10 triples, 20 stolen bases, and 10 home runs.
Any ball that's in the gap off the bat of Borges has a chance to be a triple because of that blazing speed. By the time Thames runs it down, gets it into Mike McCoy, even though he slips coming out of the batter's box, he's going to make it really without a throw. Watch him circle the bases, how quick he is. Watch how he cuts the corner. Bam, right there. Shortest distance between 2 points, straight line, and he makes a straight beeline towards third.
He was low flying around second. He's at third. The infield is drawn in. Jeff Mathis, the catcher, he can bunt. They have used him with the squeeze play in the past, and runs have been tough to come by, except for last night. Angels scored 10 last night. They could muster only 2 on Monday night on 7 hits. Just off the plate inside, it's 2-0.
We'll keep an eye on Borges at third base. Nobody out. I'm sure they're not going to run the contact play with the number 9 hitter. That's when you want to take a gamble with 1 out. Right now, probably playing, make the ball go through. And you don't want to get doubled up on a line drive.
Popped up back out of play, and Sebia gave it a look. That's the one thing here with no outs. Mike Scioscia probably holding Borges at third, making sure the ball goes through the infield. Dino Ebel giving the signs to Mathis at the plate, and will deliver the message to Borges.
You know, it doesn't mean that you don't take an aggressive lead at third base, because you've got to be aware of a ball in the dirt. You just don't take that big of a lead at third.
On the ground, McCoy knocks it down, goes across the diamond in time. Mike McCoy has played terrific defense, filling in for Yunel Escobar.
He is making plays to his right. He's making plays up the middle. He's coming in on balls, really opening up some of the eyes of the Blue Jay brass with his play at shortstop. Watch this play as he saves a run, takes a hit away from Mathis. And Borges, again, he's trying to make the ball go through. He's still over there at third base. Good play.
1 out. Meiser Asturias. Pick off at third, and Borges gets back.
It's a heads-up play right there by Aaron Sebia, because he knows now with 1 out, they're probably going to use the contact play to try and steal a run here. So the first pitch is a fastball away, and he tries the quick pickoff with Encarnacion at third base.
Bouncing ball through the middle up into center field, and the Angels take a 1-0 lead. Asturias just bounced the ball over the mound, and not much the Jays can do about that. Peter Borges with the leadoff triple. Asturias picks up his 37th RBI.
You play the infield in hoping that they hit it at someone. As soon as this ball was hit, Borges broke from third base. Even if the Blue Jays make that play, I think he steals the run. But it goes into center field, and Asturias is a candidate to run. They could hit and run with Ibar if they want.
Eric Ibar, the shortstop, already has doubled tonight. Angels can roll the dice. They have to be aggressive. They're trying to make up some ground, keep their hopes alive in the AL West and the wild card race. Bounced foul. The start of play this evening, the Yankees already beat Tampa Bay, so Tampa Bay falls to 2.5 back of Boston in the wild card race. The Angels are 3.5 back. Red Sox a little bit of a cushion now.
Angels have a better chance right now of getting the wild card. Better chance of doing that than winning their division.
Bouncing ball to short. McCoy second base, and that's all they'll get. Mike McCoy had to go too far to his right, and Kelly Johnson knew they were just going to get the lead runner at second and nothing more. Bobby Abreu was a strikeout victim in the first. It's a great time for Mike Scioscia to gamble. Go ahead and take a shot with Ibar. He's got 29 steals.
Yeah, he's only been thrown out 5 times. So if you're going to go early in the count to give Abreu a couple of pitches to work with in case you make it.
Not going. Abreu goes after the first pitch, lifts it down the left side. Thames runs out of room. Well, that's a great point you made. Go ahead and run early in the count, because if you do steal it, then Abreu's got some wiggle room.
If you have to take a pitch, strike one, no problem for a hitter like Bobby Abreu. But you give him a couple of shots. You don't want to go late in the count, and now you're hitting with 2 strikes and the guy on there. You might have 1 shot to drive him in, 1 pitch. Blue Jays might try something here, like a pitch out or something, thinking he might go 0-1.
Not going. Now it's 0-2. McGowan does a pretty good job of unloading quickly. You can see Farrell keeping his eye on Dino Ebel, the third base coach, seeing if he can't pick something up. Look for an indicator, look for a sign that's repeated. Anything that you might be able to pick up. Up and in. Go to first is into right field. Ball bounced over Lynn's glove, and Ibar will move into scoring position. It's an error on the catcher. Aaron Seaby is 6th of the season.
Can't be afraid to throw the ball around. Sometimes you're going to throw it away. Very large secondary lead by Ibar, and Aaron Seaby had to throw around Bobby Abreu, the batter at the plate, and just throws it right into the dirt. Lynn can't block it, and Ibar indeed gets himself into scoring position.
Bobby Abreu, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Now the breaking ball, that's the pitch Abreu chased and struck out on in his first at bat. Right now you would think this would be a good time to run the ball upstairs. You got Abreu thinking down. McGowan certainly has enough velocity.
It's all about changing your pattern. Give him something else to think about. 1 pitch again. He's got that good 2-seamer that moves. Maybe you could start it at his hip and freeze him on the inside part of the plate.
Ibar's running. Doesn't matter. Abreu struck out. Looked like another breaking ball. Ibar took off for third, but McGowan picks up another strikeout. He's got 5 through 3 innings. Stunning photography and in-depth analysis from Canada's top sports journalists, including Shai Davidi, Michael Grange, and Mark Spector. Be the first to get it. Subscribe today at sportsnet.ca/magazine. A couple of youngsters there enjoying a great time at the old ballpark, having a good time. Probably going to have 5 or 6 hot dogs and maybe a couple of pieces of pizza. No problem at all.
Between them. Not each, right?
Colby Rasmus pops it up to the second baseman, is Stewart. One out here in the third. David Cooper was not in the original lineup, and he is now in as the DH. If you're just joining us, Brett Boyd was injured during pregame practice. Broke the middle finger of his right hand. He is done for the season. He's been placed on the disabled list. So with that, Encarnacion went from the DH spot to third base, and David Cooper got the nod as the DH.
And when that happened, I was standing with John Farrell, and the wheels started turning about if he is out of the game, what lineup it'll look like with Laurie out of it. And he was toying with the idea of using Jose Molina as the DH tonight. Left-handed batters have a lower batting average than right-handers versus Dan Herron. So he was thinking about Molina possibly DHing.
Another pop-up. Big Mark Trumbo over at the wall, reaches in, and it's beyond his reach. Look at Dan Herron's numbers. Left-handers hitting .225 against the Angel right-hander compared to .252 for right-handed hitters. Why is that, do you think?
I think it's because of his assortment of pitches. He's got a little bit of a splitter that's effective versus lefties. He can cut the fastball in on them. Really can go to that glove side part of the plate.
Oftentimes pitchers will have a dominant side where they really feel more comfortable if they have one side or the other, and for pitchers it's often their glove side where they can really drive that front shoulder to the target.
I think another reason why he is so good at hitting that part of the plate is where he stands on the mound. I mean, it's almost like his tiptoes are just touching the pitching rubber. You see right there, and that you draw a straight line and it goes right to the inside part of the home plate area to a left-hander. Another reason why his numbers might be good.
Well, it's kind of like a golfer lining up his tee shot. You give yourself the best angle to hit the fairway, and he's all the way on that first base side, and gives him a good angle at that outside corner. Right there, that two-seam comeback fastball. It's a nasty pitch. Second strikeout for Herron.
On Rogers Sportsnet, brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Bottom of the third inning, back to the top of the order. Mike McCoy grounded to second his first time up. Going back to that last pitch, David Cooper saw that fastball inside, and the movement took it back over the inside corner. It was called strike three. Mike McCoy hits it right on the line, but Ibar is there to haul it in. Dan Herron has a very quick inning. 3 up, 3 down in the third. The Angels have taken a 1-0 lead. tonight against the Angels.
He's got good movement. He can throw that slider under the bat to the left-handers. He can get the righties out in front. Again, he made a little bit of a mechanical adjustment to his windup. Keeps his hands, instead of going over his head, keeps them in front of him right there. It helps him to get the ball out a little bit sooner. And it helps him to stay up on top and drive the ball down to the lower part of the strike zone. 5 strikeouts now through 3 innings for Dustin.
Small baby steps for Dustin McGowan. We mentioned this is his 4th start of the season, and the big thing is just to throw strikes and get that feel back of starting in the big leagues. Torey Lovullo continues to move his outfielders around. Boy, that's a well-thrown strike. A lot of conviction, and again, you're seeing that loose arm aspect of Dustin McGowan, where that ball just really bored toward that outside half.
How that ball comes out of his hand. For a player who has had problems with his shoulders over the last few years, you know, you think, well, he can't get on top of the ball, or he's going to favor his arm just a little bit. You see none of that from McGowan. It's free and easy.
Well, and McGowan himself talked about all the training staff in the minor leagues throughout the last 3.5 years, basically, that have worked with him and pushed him and made sure he didn't forget about the routine, the dedication. George Poulos told us that Dustin McGowan is as strong as he's ever seen him, and his shoulder area is as sound as he's ever seen him. So that's great news. Boy, what a great slider. Torrey Hunter goes down for a 2nd time tonight. That's 6 strikeouts for McGowan.
Yeah, nasty to a right-handed batter. You establish fastball, then you throw this bad boy to the outside part of the plate. Again, talking with Bruce Walton, and he had all 3 of these guys here just a few years ago. A.J. Burnett, Roy Halladay, and Dustin McGowan. And he was telling me the other day that the 3 of them thought that McGowan's sinker and slider were better than those other 2 guys. It wasn't just Bruce Walton thought that. Roy Halladay thought that McGowan's sinker was better than his.
Yeah. I saw early on McGowan. He came to camp in 2001. And just a youngster, obviously. And you could see the great body, long and lean, and a very good delivery. Trumbo pops his slider into center field. Easy play for Colby Erasmus. 2 down here in the 4th.
He gets a lot of his strength as he gets it to the mound from his lower half. Dustin McGowan has big legs, big backside, big calves, where he can really drive towards home plate and use his lower half to take pressure off of his arm. It's a pretty windup.
And at one time he threw 97, 98. We've seen him as high as 96 this season. But as we've mentioned before, it's not about velocity. It's about movement and location.
Here's that delivery. Watch how nice and smooth it is. He simplified it by keeping his arms in front of him. It drives towards home plate. Keeps the pressure off your arm.
And not a lot of wasted movement at all.
He was telling me when I talked to him after his last start, and we noticed the change in his windup. He said, I just felt like I had a lot of moving parts, and the timing had to be almost perfect when I went up over my head and then came back down. Now I've simplified it just a little bit. I really feel like I'm in control of the baseball.
Good movement on that fastball. That's the one thing John Farrell always does, is he asks himself, can this guy get fastballs in the zone and get outs? Can he get outs with fastballs in the strike zone? And McGowan certainly can do that.
Watching that here tonight, we're not talking about strikeouts. We're talking about ground balls, fly balls. Not just can I blow the ball by you. And he can get outs because of his movement.
This is popped up over near the seats along the 3rd base foul line. Encarnacion is there, and McGowan retires the Angels in the 4th. LA has a 1-0 lead, middle of the fourth. Hits a home run in the fourth inning. Someone will win a 40-inch Aquos Quattron TV and Blu-ray player. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp Aquos makes bigger, better. That's some home run hitters coming to the plate this inning. Eric Thames, Jose Bautista, and Adam Lynn. Dan Herron set to attack Thames. Throws a breaking ball for a strike. Both Thames and Dan Herron played baseball at Pepperdine University. If I had a chance to go back and do it all over again, I would pick Pepperdine University to play baseball. It's in Malibu, for those of you who don't know. And the baseball field sits high on a plateau overlooking the Pacific Ocean. So if you could play baseball at Pepperdine with all the distractions, you're a pretty good baseball player.
My buddy Brooke Jacoby's son played at Pepperdine, and I asked him how he's doing. He said, well, he's doing pretty good. Baseball's doing all right, too.
0-2. Fouled off. He stays alive.
Yeah, it's gorgeous campus.
Good campus, good baseball. They had a pretty good basketball program there for a while. And it is a good place to play baseball. Obviously, you always have opportunities to play all those great baseball schools in Southern California. Cal State, Fullerton, Long Beach State, UCLA. They're all right there in the neighborhood. Breaking ball high and deep to center, but Peter Borges is camped under it. We talk a lot about the MVP vote, and it's a close one in the American League, and we checked out with some of the players about who might be their pick for MVP.
I think Jose is obviously, the year Jose is having, the power numbers, on base percentage, all that stuff is Barry Bonds-like. You don't see it too often. So I'll give my vote to Jose, most valuable player. Yeah, but I really don't think pitchers should be it. They're once every 5 days. They can't make an impact 4 out of the 5 days. So he's definitely a Cy Young Award winner. But MVP, I think it should go to somebody who plays every day.
Bautista, Vernon Wells picked for MVP, pops it up to Torrey Hunter. His reference, of course, was that of Justin Verlander, whether or not a pitcher should be an MVP of a particular league. Bautista, certainly, he's going to get a lot of support. I just don't know if he's going to get enough to win it. And I polled the Angels coaching staff, and everybody's talking about it right now.
Certainly.
Every team talks about it in their locker room, around the cage. And it was funny, the Angels coaching staff, they kind of felt like Curtis Granderson was going to win. And I was kind of surprised by that. But they were adamant about the number of runs he scored, run production, and hitting in the second spot in the lineup. And I said, well, what about Bautista hitting in a lineup that doesn't have as much protection as Granderson? He said, yeah, that's probably a valid argument. But these guys have been around the game for a long time, and they pay a lot of attention. And it's going to be a very tight race. Bautista, I believe, is an MVP.
Yeah. You know, there's no question that Curtis Granderson has had a fantastic year. Fantastic year. If Jose Bautista and Curtis Granderson switch teams and Bautista is batting for Granderson on that team, how many RBIs do you think he's going to hit?
Well, I know one thing. They wouldn't have walked him 19 times with men in scoring position intentionally. 19 intentional passes, and you know, he just doesn't get that many opportunities. And to his credit, he didn't chase. Then takes the walk. That comes with 2 outs.
Jose was talking like he felt right after the All-Star break he started chasing pitches, and now he's back into his groove again where he's waiting for pitches that he can hit. He just missed a home run his first time up tonight.
Edwin Encarnacion grounded into a 6-4-3 double play his first time up. Lines this one into left field. Jumped on the first pitch. He was up in the zone, and he hammered it to left. First and second, 2 outs.
Same pitch that he hit into a double play. Got a little bit too much on top his first time up. Hit a sharp ground ball. This time stays on top and hits a line drive to left field. Full extension for Encarnacion as he one-hopped Wells in left field. I think it's safe to say that he was looking for that first pitch. He was ready, willing, and able on that first one.
Well, that's a veteran hitter recognizing that Lynn walked with 2 outs, and Heron doesn't throw many balls. That walk issued to Lynn, just the 31st walk issued by Dan Heron all season long.
I want to see Edwin Encarnacion elevate that ball next time. I mean, he covered that one.
Dan Heron has now thrown 226 innings and issued 31 walks. Once again, proof that you don't have to throw 95 miles an hour to get people out. Quality of your pitches, the movement, the location. Snap throw to second. Mathis. Ibar saying that foot came off the bag, and Marvin Hudson said no way. Ibar saying his foot came off the bag while I had the glove on his leg.
It looked like he tagged him and it pushed his foot off the bag. Watch this. He catches it, tags him, and in his mind the foot was off as he points right away, and then Lynn puts it back on. This side will really show. And he's got an argument. Look at that.
He's off the bag. And he certainly didn't push him off the bag. But that's a good play by the shortstop. You make the tag and just maintain contact with the player. Just hold it there,
right.
Because then Lynn had to try to break his momentum, and Ibar was alertly looking at his foot to make sure when it did come off, he was going to point it out to the umpire.
To the umpire's defense, he was on the other side of the bag. He had no way of being able to look around and seeing if his foot, it was only maybe an inch off the bag. He had no way of telling that his foot wasn't on it.
Plus, he didn't have the benefit of that third base camera angle in slow motion, like you and I. Kelly Johnson just missed a home run his last time up. Hit a ball off the top of the wall in right. Average has crept up to 264 since joining Blue Jays. 1-0 Angels lead, tying run at second. And go ahead run at first. 3-2, 2 outs. They'll be on the move, on the pitch. There they go. Back-to-back walks. Excuse me, 2 walks and a hit. 2 walks in 1 inning. And you look at his strikeout to walk ratio, it's the best in baseball. 6.
3-1 is outstanding. I mean, outstanding. 4-1 off the charts. 6-1. That's in a different league right there.
The bases loaded. We're only a grand slam away from awarding a 70-inch Sharp Aquos Quatron TV. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Aaron Seavey goes after the first pitch. Another breaking ball away, and it's a 3-hopper to second. Just like that, Dan Heron makes one good pitch and pitches around the 2 walks. We have played 4. The Angels have 1-0 lead. Now it's time for a Jays Connected update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg. In the American League, and we believe Jose Bautista should be the American League MVP. For his take on it, check out Scott Carson's column on Sportsnet.ca. He has a very strong opinion about who should be the AL MVP, and Scott Carson has an outstanding opinion of what he thinks. But we're not going to let him speak about it. You can read about it in Sportsnet.ca. He knows exactly what he's talking about, because he tells us that every single day.
More than once.
Many, many times more than once. 7-8-9 for the Angels. Vernon Wells will start things off. Angels have a 1-0 lead. Foul tip. Check swing foul. Been a lot of talk about the merits of a pitcher being the MVP. We've not had a pitcher win the MVP since '86 when Roger Clemens did that. I believe a pitcher should win the MVP if he is far and above the most valuable player. And there have been times when I felt that Justin Verlander should be the MVP. And for me, he and Bautista are the leading candidates. That's what I feel. I think that the problem we have now is so many players and coaches and managers identify the Cy Young Award win as the pitcher's MVP. And I don't know if I agree with that, but certainly the voters in the past, there have only been 6 pitchers win the MVP award. And, you know, Koufax and Eckersley, and it's been a very select group, but it's Verlander has been pretty dominant. Yeah,
it's going to be a great race, I think. Ball fouled off. I've heard that argument also about the starters again since 1960 who have won the MVP. 1968, the year of the pitcher, of course, McClain and Bob Gibson. Vida Blue in 1971. Roger Clemens, the last starting pitcher to win the MVP. That was back in 1986. And the numbers that Verlander had this year are very comparable to the numbers that Roger Clemens had back in 1986.
Yeah, those are the starting pitchers. We obviously said there was 5 starting pitchers. There have been relief pitchers that have won as well. How about that pitch down and away with the fastball? Strikeout number 7 for Dustin McGowan.
And you get him to bite at it because it's close enough to the strike zone, but it's got movement, late explosive movement as it makes its way towards home plate. Watch this one just come out of his hand. It looks like a fastball on the outside part of the plate and just dives straight down. I've heard the argument also, and I don't know how legitimate it is, but until a hitter can win the Cy Young Award, the pitcher should never have a chance to win the MVP award.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I just think that the MVP is the most valuable player.
Yeah.
And if it was Roger Clemens' year in '86 or Eckersley's year as the closer in '92, Bautista should win it. I mean, here's another argument for Bautista's candidacy. Everybody says, well, it's tied to winning, and really it isn't. If you look at the letter that they send out to the MVP voters, it says winning has nothing to do with it. This ball is hammered to left field. Peter Borges will watch this one sail out of the ballpark. Borges with a triple now has hit a homer, his 12th of the season.
Got the 2 hard ones out of the way. If you're talking about the cycle, it's the same Peter Borges before yesterday's game was 1 for 22. 3 hits yesterday, and he keeps it going here tonight. Tripled and scored in the 3rd inning, and then uncorks this one. This is his 12th home run. And he can break it down after it clears the wall in left center field.
Well, I tell you what, you've got to give Peter Borges an awful lot of credit for the work he's put in trying to improve his stroke. He's a hitter. When he came up last year, he played over 50 games for the Angels last year, and there was so much talk about his defense. I mean, he was among the league leaders in outfield assists, and he played 50 games. But this year, he's become an offensive contributor. He's done something that no Angel has ever done in the past, and he did it here tonight when he got his 10th triple. For the season, that gives Borges 25 or more doubles, 10 or more triples, 20 plus steals, and now he has 12 home runs, so 10 or more home runs. So 4 offensive categories that require power and speed, and Borges is the only Angels to reach those numbers.
When he first came up, you could knock the bat right out of his hand. Just challenge him inside with fastballs, and he just couldn't get the head out. He's made a couple of mechanical adjustments. He's laying the bat right off of his shoulder, so that has shortened up his swing, and it helps him to get the barrel out in front.
Got to give Mickey Hatcher some credit as well, the hitting coach, to suggest some changes, some adjustments.
They have a dilemma, the Angels, with all these center fielders that they have. We got our first look at Mike Trout yesterday. You got to figure that he's going to be in the mix at some point. Vernon Wells is a great outfielder. Borges, Torrey Hunter. And you got to figure that Kendry Morales is going to come back for him next year and probably DH. So there's a little excess of talent on the Angels.
Mike Trout, who saw playing a game last night, he's just 20 years old and just turned 20. So they have a lot of talent, and certainly they've always been an organization that has produced homegrown talent. Their offense has really been suspect this year, and Mike Scioscia really felt the impact of the loss of Kendry Morales. Down and away for the strikeout. Pair of strikeouts this inning. That's 8 for McGowan.
Angels are a team that don't strike out a whole lot, but tonight he is hitting his spots. He's changing speeds, and that pitch right there almost unhittable. Down and away to a right-hander.
Meiser restored us. Two outs, top of the 5th. McGowan has thrown 75 pitches. That's 2 times out. He's thrown 71 here, and it's all about the effort level. John Farrell, of course, very concerned about the long-term health of Dustin McGowan given his past. And he's probably thinking about where they are now. He got the lineup card in his hand, talking to Bruce Walton. This is into center field. Colby Rasmus smothers it on a hop. As Stewart has a 2-out single.
They've talked about 75, 80, 85 pitches for Dustin McGowan as he is working his way back. And if he can get out of this inning relatively quickly, they might be able to squeeze one more inning out of him. Good effort right there by Rasmus to short up that ball.
Harry Kaibar batting with 2 outs, and you can see the staff has come to a decision. They're going to go down the pen, get somebody throwing. And the one thing you don't want to do is leave McGowan out there for an extra inning and then have him throw 10, 12 extra pitches before you can get him out of the inning.
Or start him in the inning. If he gets in trouble, he hits his pitch count. Now you've got to bring a reliever in with maybe a guy on. Work out of the stretch. Bring him in on a clean inning.
Jesse Litch has started to throw down in the Blue Jays bullpen. I tell you what, I don't care what the score is or the fact that he's given up a home run here in this inning. This has been a good outing.
Oh, followed up his last start, which was very good. That might get the wheels turning in the Blue Jay brass as they start contemplating and thinking about next year.
There goes his Stewart there, and see him bobble the ball. Never got a grip on it. Couldn't make a throw. As Stewart picks up his 9th steal of the season.
Been thrown out 6 times. It looked like a good pitch to run on with that curveball, breaking ball. If he just can't get that ball out cleanly. Good time to run right there.
McGowan determined to save this extra run at second with 2 outs. It's Ibar to chase that high hard one. 2-2. You mentioned the competition going into next spring. We don't even know about pitchers that aren't in the organization right now, and you can imagine there's going to be some new faces next spring, either through free agency or a possible trade. And certainly you can see there's some serious studying going on that bench.
And I think they like what they've seen tonight from Dustin McGowan.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Eric Ibar lays off that nasty breaking ball. That's been a very good strikeout pitch for McGowan tonight. Dustin's wife, Jillian McGowan, certainly deserves a lot of credit for her support through that long period of injuries and rehab and disappointment and setbacks. She's been a tremendous source of support for her husband Dustin. Full count. Bounce to first. Lynn has it. He'll go to the bag, and the inning is over. McGowan does a good job. Dustin McGowan goes 5 innings. Jillian McGowan enjoying it. 8 strikeouts, but the Blue Jays trail 2-0. for a job well done. Another positive step in the return of Dustin McGowan. He goes 5 innings. He gives up a couple of runs on 5 hits, but strikes out 8, and he looked sharp.
He certainly did. He had good movement on his sinking fastball, his cutter, his slider, his breaking ball. Spotted his fastball. 8 strikeouts in those 5 innings. Just a little bit stronger, he probably would have had a chance to get close to a career high.
No walks. And McGowan was sharp, and certainly he has to be satisfied. He'd certainly like to have a chance to win the ball game, and his teammates can score 3 runs and put him in that position.
He had 12 strikeouts, which was his career high back in 2007.
Colby Rasmus rips it into the seats foul. 8-9-1 for the Blue Jays. They are down by 2. Good pitch, just missed down and away. Oh, I love the way Dan Herron works. I mean, he grabs it and looks for a sign and doesn't waste any time. That looked like a splitter that handcuffed Mathis. He'll go to first for the out. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Beautiful downtown Toronto, not far from Rogers Center. Dan Herron has a 2-0 lead here, bottom of the 5th.
He always looks like he's in control, doesn't he? Like nothing phases him. Has a plan, what he wants to do, and then executes those pitches. We were talking earlier this year about pitchers.
David Cooper drives this to center. Peter Borges can run, and what a play he made. 1 stride short of the wall in center field. Took it full speed and then slammed to a stop up against the center field fence. And Herron acknowledges a fine defensive play.
The Angels have a stat in their notes about runs saved, courtesy of Fangraphs, and they say that Peter Borges leads all of Major League outfielders in 21 runs saved. He might have saved one right there as he goes full blast, backhands the ball, and then face plants against the wall in left center field, but it's an extra base hit taken away by Borges.
Well, this pitching staff very appreciative of the defense in the outfield, especially. Peter Borges is a pretty special young player when you can force 2 Gold Glovers to the corners. Torrey Hunter is in right now. Vernon Wells is in left, and they both have won Gold Gloves in center field.
He's going to win one in center field, I think, this year.
Yeah.
You talk to the scouts and the guys who have watched him day in and day out, and they said this guy is the best.
Well, when you go around the league and try to think about the top center fielders in the league, there's another one in the AL West that's pretty good, Franklin Gutierrez for the Seattle Mariners. Jacoby Ellsbury, Curtis Granderson, they come to mind. Austin Jackson of the Tigers is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder.
They don't have this type of range, though, that we've seen from this guy, and the breaks that he gets. I mean, you watch the ball hit, and then you look up to the center fielder, in about 2 steps, he's in full speed. And he can cover lots of ground. And with that kind of speed, you can play a little bit shallower, take away the infield hits.
Gold Glover now in right field. Torrey Hunter makes the catch. Peter Borges took away extra bases, saved Dan Herron, a base runner. after 5 innings, and yeah, he trails 2-0, but what a start for Dustin McGowan. Another great step in his return to the Blue Jays.
Certainly no walks tonight for McGowan. 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. Got 79 pitches in the bank after those 5 innings. He was pounding the zone. He was using his breaking ball, and at times made the Angel batters look really bad. But he finds himself behind by a couple of runs. Jesse Litch will come in now to take over. 25 games this year for Litch. He has had 17 as a reliever. Done a good job. 24 to third innings. He's only given up 16 hits as a reliever. Comes in and throws lots of strikes. Got the natural cutting action on his fastball and works quickly also. And that's what you want as a reliever. Come in, work quickly, throw a lot of strikes.
Mentioned McGowan. This is his 3rd start of the season, and in his first start he went 3 innings. He walked 5 and didn't have a strikeout. So you talk about a quick turnaround. In his 3rd start, 8 strikeouts, no walks. That's what you're looking for. Command and the ability to get outs in the strike zone with your fastball. He did that tonight.
He did it tonight. A couple of strikeouts come to mind. The Vernon Wells strikeout in the 5th inning looked like a fastball, and it got underneath his bat. He also had a slider to Bobby Abreu, who's tough to strike out. Abreu is very tough to strike out. McGowan got him twice tonight.
Abreu is always among the toughest in baseball to strike out. A lot of confidence to hit with 2 strikes. He's going to have to do it again this time. One and 2. Strike 3 called. That 2-seam fastball. Abreu has struck out 3 times. He doesn't agree with the home plate umpire, but there's 1 out here in the 6th. Jamie Campbell's got an update. Tommy Hunter going to the mound for the Orioles. Boston certainly needs to have a win. Tampa Bay lost the first game of the afternoon, first of 2 against the Yankees, and they had a rain delay to start game 2. It's a scoreless game, bottom of the 2nd in New York. CC Sabathia on the mound against Jeremy Hellickson.
Shields was dealing again this afternoon for Tampa, but just couldn't hold on as the Yankees came back late in that game.
I got one for you. How about the Marlins leading the Braves 2-0? And the Cardinals are up on the Mets 2-0. Things are getting dicey in the old National League. Torrey Hunter drives this ball to the gap in left field. That'll go all the way to the wall. Colby Erasmus gets it and plays it back to the infield. Hunter has a 1-out double. Hunter had struck out his first 2 times up. He now has 22 doubles for the season.
3 and 4 have had a rough night against Dustin McGowan. They had faced him 4 times and struck out all 4 times before this. Torrey Hunter with his ringing double to left center field.
If the Braves and Cardinals scores hold up, the Cardinals would be a game and a half back in the National League wild card race. They've come out of nowhere.
They were playing a series maybe 3 weeks ago, and I think it was against Milwaukee, and Milwaukee was winning, and then all of a sudden it was like 10 or 11 games that Milwaukee had a lead on St. Louis, and we're like, okay, that's it, done. It's 5.5 now in the NL Central, and like you said, 2.5 in the wild card. Cardinals.
St. Louis has gone 18-6 since the 25th of August. Mark Trumbo, ball on the strike. Cardinals are playing the Mets tonight and tomorrow. Then they come home to take on the Cubs. Chris Carpenter opens up that series on Friday night. The Cardinals have the Cubs over the weekend and then go to Houston. Pretty good schedule.
Yeah, it's there for them. They have a chance.
Their rotation is set up. If they go to Houston Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Garcia, Westbrook, and Chris Carpenter would pitch the final day of the season, which is not a bad thing if they needed to get in, because you have Kyle Loesch then that could open up the playoffs 2 days later. Pickoff at second. Oh, man, looked like they had him. Jesse Licht's throw was a little bit high into the first base side of the bag, but what a good tag Kelly Johnson put on Torrey Hunter.
Good time to put it on. It slowed Kelly Johnson down just a little bit. You can see a high throw, but it's still, from that first time, it looked like he had him. Hunter has to scramble back. Maybe he got his fingernail in there with that right hand.
If he did, he didn't cut him today. 1-1, 1 out. Trumbo pops this one into shallow right field. Bautista with a long run. He's not going to get there. Hunter had to hold his ground, and now they've got to get the ball back to the infield. Trumbo ends up at second. Hunter had to wait to make sure Bautista didn't make a catch, so he only moves up to third. But boy, that pickoff play was huge at second.
Out into no man's land down the right field line. Lynn, Johnson, and Bautista, none of them can get it. Now there's no cutoff man at the plate. There's also nobody at second base for Trumbo. Mike McCoy was the one who had to come in and do both. But Hunter was not going to be able to score because he had to hold up and make sure that that ball landed safely.
So with a base open, they're going to walk Callaspo, who's a switch hitter. And then they'll work to Vernon Wells with the bases loaded and 1 out.
How about that? Back-to-back doubles. And they haven't been able to score a run yet. You don't see that very often.
No. It was a bloop double off the bat of Mark Trumbo, and Torrey Hunter at second had to hold up to make sure that the ball wasn't caught. Boy, you go back to that pickoff play. If Jesse Litch had thrown it on the shortstop side of the bag, it would have been no contest. Hunter would have been out. Might have been out anyway.
Yep. Slowed him down just a little bit as he had to wait for that ball and then reach for it.
Marvin Hudson, the second base umpires, had a couple of tough calls tonight. Eric Ibar felt like base runner at second had come off the bag. Adam Lynn on a tag play. The momentum kind of forced him off the bag, and Ibar tagged him while his foot came off the bag, but Hudson didn't see that. So now the Blue Jays in desperate need of a ground ball.
Jesse Litch can certainly get it with his sinking fastball and his little cutter. Infield's got to come in.
Bases loaded. Torrey Hunter with a double. Trumbo with the bloop doubles at second, and Callaspo the intentional walk. Bases are loaded for Vernon Wells. Jesse Litch needs a ground ball. That was a good pitch down and in.
Establish in against Wells. There are his numbers in his career. 6 grand slams for Wells in his career. This is his first look at his ex-teammate right here, Litch.
Inside. Vernon Wells obviously looking for something out over the plate that he can extend on and drive to at least the outfield.
And Litch trying to stay inside so he can extend. J. Pierre and Sevilla 3 times has called for something inside. You get that batter starting to think about inside and then cut that fastball away. That's when you get the ball off the end of the bat and get it on the ground, what you're looking for.
Chase the pitch upstairs. 2-2. Boy, now Wells has really got to clear his head. Litch did a good job of mixing him up, and he elevated that fastball. You'd think now that the slider is the pitch to go to.
4 pitches now inside. Now something away. Watch Aaron Cedar. He'll tell you where they're thinking.
Coming in. On the ground, wide of third, through the hole, into left. 1 runs in. Trumbo coming toward the plate, and the throw is offline and late. Vernon Wells delivers with 2 strikes. A 2-run single to left field.
Hunter got a double to get it started, then a double by Trumbo, and now this 2-strike hit by Wells. They get the ground ball, what they were looking for, but it just sneaks through on the left side. Wells picks up a couple of RBI, 62 and 63, and it's now 4-0.
Bruce Walton out to talk to Jesse Litch. Vernon Wells delivers with the 2-run single, his 62nd and 63rd RBI of the season.
Coming into this inning, Jesse Litch had given up just 21 hits all season long versus right-handed batters, and he's given up 3 in this inning. Hunter, Trumbo with the bloop double, and now Wells squeaks one through the left side. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but that pickoff play at second base is huge.
It sure was. Jesse Litch made a good pivot and then threw it to the outside of second.
It's a great idea, and a great
the timing was perfect.
Timing was perfect on it.
And had he gotten a throw to the shortstop side of second, Hunter more than likely would have been out. So Callaspo's at second, Wells is at first, still 1 out. Peter Borges has had some night. A triple and a homer, and he scored 2 runs. Aaron Sebia smothers it. Wells broke and gets back to first. The left-hander Luis Perez loosening up. Go back to that play at third. It was a bouncing ball wide of third, but Encarnacion dove for it, couldn't get to it. You just wonder if Brett Lawrie's explosive range, he would have been able to get to that ball.
And just get 1 out somewhere. Don't know if they would have been able to turn 2, but you're right. A little bit more range at third.
Brett Lawrie's got a lot more range than a lot of people. His first step quickness has been impressive. But his season has come to an end. In case you've just joined us, Brett Lawrie broke his finger in pregame practice. Took a ground ball off his right middle finger. A bad hop off the artificial surface here at Rogers Center. There's a ball driven to center field. That'll hang up for Colby Erasmus. Callaspo went halfway and he can't advance. If you are just joining us, here's what happened in pregame drill. Brett Lawrie was taking ground balls and got one off the meat hand.
Yeah, right off that finger, that middle finger, and it hit him square. At first he cracked his nail on that finger, and they went to have x-rays and they found a little chip bone.
So he has been placed on the disabled list, and his season is over. Unfortunate season. Had a broken hand in AAA back in May, and now his season comes to an abrupt end. Jeff Mathis 0 for 2. Mathis was retired on a good play by Mike McCoy back in the third. With the infield drawn in, McCoy went to the backhand a couple of steps to his right and threw Mathis out. Popped over near the Angel dugout and out of play. Four nothing Angel lead. Dan Herron shutting out the Blue Jays on just 3 hits. The Angels, as Pat mentioned earlier, in the wild card race, 3.5 back of Boston. They are in third place. They're behind Tampa Bay. Actually in second place in the wild card race behind Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they got to jump over a couple of teams to get into that wild card.
Mathis, McCoy flips it to Johnson at second. Wells is forced out, but the Angels on a Vernon Wells RBI gets 2. Wells picks up 2. It's 4-0. Comfort Zone are the winners of the 2011 Richmond Hill Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament. Congratulations, fellas. And we welcome you to Rogers Center. And we hope you counted all your strokes. Dan Herron has been in the driver's seat. We mentioned he is a perfect 3-0 at Rogers Center coming into this game. This is his 6th career start against the Jays here at Rogers Center. Just 2 walks. We say just 2 walks.
Yeah.
That's a lot of walks for Dan Herron.
Too many. The way he has thrown this year. There's 30 coming into this game and 180 strikeouts for Herron.
This is a big inning for the Blue Jays. 2, 3, and 4 the scheduled batters. They need to get something going. There's something going. See you later. Eric Thames to the second deck. Thames wins the Battle of Pepperdine.
Pitchers have been trying to jam Eric Thames the last couple of weeks, and he fouled a ball off of his helmet. This time he gets the hands through. You can see Mathis set up on the inside part of the plate. The hands come through very quickly. That's no doubt about it. Second deck. Home run number 11. That's how you get him out of there.
He removed the kitchen. Jose Bautista was after that cutter off the plate. You get to this part of the order, you just sense that you got to get something going to encourage the rest of the lineup. Thames has done that. Jays are on the board. Little squibber out in front of home. Herron takes his time and throws Bautista out. Eric Thames with his 11th homer of the season. And the rookies have now hit 45 home runs for the year. That's just 3 behind the Blue Jays franchise record for home runs by a rookie in a season. That happened in 2002, led by Eric Hinsky.
How about what the rookies have been able to do this year? Go all the way back to spring training. And you talk about the roster as it was formulating and down in Dunedin. And then here comes Eric Thames, who wasn't even in the picture, having a good year. Brett Lord not in the picture towards the end of spring training.
Adam Lynn fights that ball off and fouls it into the seats. That's a great point. How about Henderson Alvarez? Not in the picture.
Not even in the picture. Carreño.
And that's the one thing, too. And John Farrell picked up on it right away in spring training. He said these kids energize our lineup. Off the end of the bat. Callaspo wide of third. 2 down. But those kids he was referring to included Thames, Laurie, Anthony Gose. In spring training, when he put those 3 players into the lineup, they raised the energy level of the team. They've done the same thing when they've come to the big leagues.
When they've come to the big leagues, they've given them a little bit of an extra boost. How about JP Arancibia? The question marks about JP in spring training. There's another rookie with 23 home runs. I think he's answered a few of those.
Yeah, he sure has. And he's not a finished product by any means. But, boy, you can have a first year with 78 RBI. Pretty good. Another ball off the end of the bat. Highbar rights himself and throws out Encarnacion, but Blue Jays get on the board. Dan Heron only threw 10 pitches in the 6th, but one of those left the yard. Eric Thames delivers his 11th of the season. Blue Jays are down by 3. Here this evening, and it's significant because now for the first time all season long Jose Bautista's average has dipped below 300. I mean, from day one he has been over 300. To give you an idea just how consistent he has been, he started out against the Minnesota Twins, went 3 for 4 in the first game, and has never been below 300.
It was staying at 330, 340 all season long. Luis Perez is into the ballgame after a 27-pitch inning by Jesse Lynch. Perez will take over here. He last worked 8 days ago. That was at Boston and failed to get an out against the Red Sox. 4 hits, 3 earned runs for Perez. He is now coming in. He is the 3rd pitcher to work tonight. Left-hander, I think he's opened some eyes too this year from what he can do and really out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I think he has certainly put his name into the hat as far as competition for a bullpen spot next year. Perez had a great start his first time out against Oakland.
Projects more, I think, as a reliever. A left-hander. Throws hard. He's got good movement.
Popped up. Slicing into foul ground. Lind there makes a nice catch. That's a tough play for a first baseman. 1 out here in the 7th. In case you're just joining us, Dustin McGowan In his 3 starts since the recall, we have seen steady improvement from the big right-hander.
Had 5 walks in the 3 innings versus Baltimore. That was the first start. Maybe nerves played into that. He made a little bit of a mechanical adjustment against the Yankees next time out. 5 innings, just 3 hits against New York. Took him 75 pitches. And then tonight the best, I think, even though he is behind right now. 5 innings, he had 5 hits given up, but the 8 strikeouts and no walks just jumps off of the board at you when you're talking about Dustin McGowan.
That breaking ball from Perez. Yeah, I think you're right. He had command. He pitched with conviction from the first pitch of the ball game. He gave up a 1-out double to this man, Eric Ibar, in the first, and then struck out Bobby Abreu and Torrey Hunter. A couple of tough veterans.
Yeah. That's no easy task to get Bobby Abreu a couple times.
Ibar shows bunt and takes the ball. Luis Perez making his 31st appearance as a reliever. His overall numbers as a reliever, okay. That ball is ripped into left field. Thames gets over quickly, tries to cut it off. Ibar will be held to a long single.
Third time that he is going to be on tonight, his 2nd hit. He's a good player. You get a chance to watch him, and looking up his numbers today as a defensive player, 3rd most total chances in the American League, 3rd most putouts. He's played the 7th most games at shortstop, and he's still up amongst the leaders in fielding percentage.
Got a big lead at first. Abreu backs up from an inside fastball. Bobby Abreu has struck out 3 times tonight. Dustin McGowan got Abreu twice, and then Jesse Lidge struck out Abreu in the 6th. Jesse Lidge, the things went downhill after that strikeout. And then he gave up a double to Torrey Hunter, bloop double to Mark Trumbo, and then walked Callaspo to load the bases, and Brendan Wells delivered a 2-run single to left. And the numbers for Ibar, good percentage at 85% success. Looking for his 30th steal of the season. Just off the outside corner, 2-1.
Bobby Abreu was giving ground there. You see that front side leak out there? He might be looking for something inside that he can pull through that right side.
Well, that's up to the catcher to pick up on that. J.P. Aronsevi has got the best vantage point of that to see that front side open up. Got to pay attention, and then you can make the appropriate adjustments. They're coming inside. You were right. He was sitting inside. He opened up that front foot, stepped toward first, and tried to cheat to catch up to that fastball.
All you have to do is hit a ground ball to the right side when that first baseman is holding on that runner. And you've got some speed like Ibar has. You might get yourself a fastball, so you got to cheat to get to it.
Ibar had a little bigger lead at first, has to dive back in. Another throw to first. Top of the 7th inning, Angels have a 4-1 lead. Eric Thames got one back, leading off the bottom of the 6th. Solo home run to right. His 11th of the season. Almost threw that one away. And had to reach behind Ibar to make the grab.
Certainly has his attention. Ibar with just a little bit bigger lead, like you mentioned. Now a little bit later in the count, you can see that it almost has both feet on the turf.
Strike three call. Abreu fooled by a breaking ball. 2 outs. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Luis Perez strikes out Bobby Abreu and turns the ball over to the bullpen. Sean Camp when we come back. Broke his finger in pregame drills here this afternoon. He's talking with the head trainer George Poulos. He's wearing a splint on that middle finger. He has been placed on the disabled list. His season is over, and you can bet it's a disappointing end to an otherwise terrific summer for Brett Lawrie. Sean Camp comes out of the bullpen with 2 outs and a man at first.
Camp into the game now. 67 appearances for Sean Camp as he inches a little bit closer to his career high. That was 75. Much better his last few times out. He's only given up 1 earned run in his last 8 games.
Came into the ball game with runners at first and second and 1 out in last night's game. Excuse me, no outs, first and second. Got a double play off the bat of Torrey Hunter and then struck out Mark Trumbull. So he pitched an inning. Did a great job with the breaking ball to get Trumbull.
Yeah, that was that sweeping slider.
Torrey Hunter left side pop up. Bautista, the right fielder, will make the catch. And again, Sean Camp comes out of the bullpen, does a good job. He leaves a base runner on. Blue Jays trail the Angels 4-1. 2012 Blue Jays season tickets are on sale now. Purchase your 2012 season tickets by December 2nd, and you'll receive a Blue Jays authentic jersey, a $100 gift card at Jay's Shop, and a 1-year subscription to the new Sportsnet magazine. Receive great benefits and attend exclusive season ticket holder events all season long. Call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. You can log on to BlueJays.com and order your season tickets for the 2012 Blue Jays season. Dan Herron to Kelly Johnson. Johnson has had a perfect night. He's doubled and walked. Hitting against his former teammate. Both played together in Arizona.
We've been talking a lot this year about the young pitching staff that the Blue Jays have had in terms of number of starts.
Ground ball pulled to first. Trumbo will go to the back.
This is Dan Herron's 254th career start. And you can just tell the difference on he never gets rattled, makes a couple of poor pitches, he can get right back into his windup and then throw strikes. And you can see veteran pitchers, the difference between them and young pitchers.
Well, they just have the experience to know that there's no reason to panic. Brett Cecil, Ricky Roel, Brandon Morrow, Henderson Alvarez, you know, they're making their 60th, 70th start.
Yep.
Herron, Weaver, and Santana are into the high 200s.
They just know themselves so much better. They know what their best pitches are. They know how to control their bodies, get back into their windups. Throwing strikes starts with a clean delivery. If you don't have a clean delivery and smooth and a good release point, there is no way that you can throw strikes consistently. Dan Herron does the same thing time after time after time. He's been doing it a long time. We were talking about pitchers, underrated pitchers in baseball, and this is one of them right here.
Dan Herron started his career with the Cardinals, and he went to Oakland in a trade, and he pitched from 2008 to 2010. Halfway through the 10 season, he went to the Angels in a trade. Aaron Sebia hits it off the end of the bat. 2 outs here in the 7th. Ricky Romero, in his 3rd full season with the Blue Jays, is another guy that has certainly pitched his way onto the radar screen.
Yep, and his track record and his numbers that he is putting up there is going to be under the radar, just like Dan Herron. Very underrated, but a very good pitcher in a hitter's league.
Romero's made 92 career starts.
Look at the numbers between Romero and Herron this year. Pretty close. Both of them have won 15 games. Romero's ERA is just under 3. They've thrown about the same amount of innings and the strikeouts. So when you talk about Dan Herron, a very underrated but a very good starter, you got to start throwing Ricky Romero's name in there too now.
255th start for Dan Herron, and just the 92nd for Ricky Romero. He's made 92 starts in his 3 seasons. This trio of starters for the Angels, they're pretty impressive. Weaver, Herron, Santana, they've combined for 44 wins. They've thrown 672 innings and a combined ERA, all 3 of them together, 3.01. Rasmus pulls it foul. No other trio of starters can really compare to that durability, the ability to pitch deep into a ball game, and they are certainly the premier trio in the American League.
Yeah, you might get 1 or 2 together, but then 3. That's why in the playoffs this team can be very dangerous because of those starters. All 3 of them had 100+ strikeouts before the All-Star break. Just the 5th time since World War II that has happened. 3 players with 100 strikeouts before the All-Star break.
But right now, the Angels are on the outside looking in. Little tapper back to the mound. Herron takes his time. Rasmus is retired. Another 1-2-3 inning for Dan Herron. We've played 7 here at Rogers Center. Herron is in control. Casey Jansen will pitch when we come back. The final Blue Jays home game of the season will take place tomorrow night. We'll be right here for the finale. It'll be Urban Santana against the youngster Henderson Alvarez. 4th and final game of the series. Final home game for the Blue Jays. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com and stop by most Rogers Plus locations and pick up your tickets. And you might get a preview of one of the starters in the rotation for the Blue Jays next season. Henderson Alvarez has been impressive since he's joined the ball club.
Well, he certainly has. Casey Jansen into the ball game now, and he's been very impressive also this year. He has solidified the back end of that bullpen. He has taken over as the 8th inning man for John Farrell's bullpen. He's had a good year too.
Mark Trumbo, the first baseman, had a bloop double his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Hits this ball into center. Not that deep. Rasmus now has to come in. Henderson Alvarez heisted the peanuts from our cameraman Martin down there at third base. Want some of my peanuts, boys? Hey, they're not your peanuts. Give them back. Okay. Martin's a good guy. He's happy to share. No problem at all. He's got a lot of personality, yeah. Henderson Alvarez.
You know, I see him around the hotel here.
Yeah.
We both stay here at the hotel, and he's always joking and laughing and having fun with people. It comes up to you, and you know, for 21 years old, he certainly doesn't act that.
He's very confident.
Yep.
And pretty accomplished. And he's only going to get better.
I think I'd rather have a young player like that, because that, to me, that just shows an air of confidence, than a guy who's shy, not real sure of himself, and you don't hear him too much in the clubhouse. I like young guys who come up here and have a little energy.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of energy and certainly a lot of confidence. One thing we have seen and learned about Henderson Alvarez, if you come into the game tomorrow, get here early, about 6:40. He goes down to warm up. He signs autographs, talks to fans, has a good time.
Take some pictures.
Brian Runge down at third base said that Callaspo went too far.
That's that good, hard, cutting fastball that Jansen has. He'll run that right in on the left-handers, and it's tough to lay off of him.
Inside, Ted Barrett had a good look at that fastball. Ground ball, Johnson backhand, no chance. Callaspo simply runs too well. Man on, one out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Wow. They just can't finish out games in Boston.
That was supposed to be their strong point. They went out, they got Bobby Jenks for the 7th, Daniel Barr the 8th, and Papelbon the 9th. And this month, that's been a reoccurring theme for the Boston Red Sox, giving up the lead late.
Vernon Wells jumps back from a Jansen fastball. Boston just trying to do anything they can to win a game. And Papelbon had a blown save last night. Daniel Bard was saddled with his 9th loss of the season. Bard is 2-9.
2-9. He went through a stretch this year that was probably the best of his career. Daniel Bard. Something like 20 innings, something like that, of shutout baseball. Right now, struggling.
Vernon Wells, 2-0 count, 1 out. Callaspo at first. Ball is driven to center field and deep, and Colby Rasmus watches this sail into the seats. Vernon Wells with a home run. He's had some series. He's had 6 hits in the first 3 games of this series and hit 2 home runs.
And 4 ribbies in his last 2 at-bats. Got the big 2-run single off of Jesse Lynch back in the 6th inning. And now we'll send this ball out in right field. Tell you how good Casey Jansen has been all season long. This is just the 2nd home run that he has given up. Right center field in the 2nd deck.
Peter Borges. He's had some night. His 3rd hit. He's just a double shy of the cycle. Didn't waste any time. Went after that first pitch. Now, you have to practice that before you can pull it off in the game, right?
Stay loose.
Angels are up 6-1. Borges was thinking about running. Didn't get a good break. Jeff Mathis, the catcher, has gone 0 for 3. To give you an idea about Casey Jansen, what a run he's been on. Coming into this game, he just allowed 1 earned run over his last 23 in the 3rd inning. He has really had a great stretch.
Yeah, not giving up anything. Lots of strikeouts. Averaging about a strikeout an inning.
There goes Borges. Cut on and missed. Throw to second is in the dirt. J.P. Arencibia almost hit Casey Jansen with the throw. Jansen ducked out of the way, but it sails right over his back.
Doesn't have time to go to his feet to try and throw out. Borges got a good jump and he can run. So he elects to just throw from where he was. Almost got him.
Better keep an eye on him at second as well. Mathis cues it off the end of the bat. Peter Borges, with that steal, he has 22 steals. And we mentioned earlier he hit his 10th triple of the season. And he's accomplished something no other Angel has ever accomplished, surpassing 25 doubles. He has 10 triples, 20 steals, and 10 homers. That's hard to imagine in the history. This is the 50th year of the Angels. And Borges is the first to amass those numbers.
Double digits in all those extra base categories. It doesn't really happen a whole lot. Curtis Granderson did it a few years ago when he was with the Tigers. The hard part is the 10 triples.
There's a good slider, and Mathis strikes out. 2 down. We are in the top of the 8th inning. The Angels have jumped on the Blue Jays bullpen. They scored 2 runs off Jesse Litch in the 6th. Batted 2 more here off of Casey Jansen. Meister Asturias, the leadoff hitter, playing at second base tonight. Asturias played third back in the opener on Monday night. Ball and a strike. Ball in the dirt, and Sebia squares up, keeps it right there at his feet.
A little bit longer inning than Jansen is used to. He has now thrown 20 pitches here in the 8th inning. He's usually in and out very quickly, keeping his pitch count down.
Two and one. Jam shot, little flare that's going to drop for a base hit. Borges quickly around third. He'll score. Asturias fights it off, gets Jam, picks up a single and an RBI. It's 7-1 Angels. Borges scores for the 3rd time.
And his stolen base pays off for the Angels. He's in scoring position. Just a little flare down the left field line. No chance for Encarnacion to go out and get it. The shortstop might have had the best shot. That would have been Mike McCoy, but just wasn't hit high enough. Asturias will pick up his 3rd hit, and that will be it for Jansen.
A rare rough outing for Casey Jansen. Carlos Villanueva will come in and try to close out the 8th.
started there this year, made a few starts for the Blue Jays, was shut down for a little bit with forearm strain, now back into the bullpen. Blue Jays have 12 relievers down there, and this is their 5th one here tonight.
Eric Ibar has been on base 3 times tonight. Doubled, singled, and reached on a fielder's choice. Picks the first pitch upstairs. 7-1 Angels for a team that has struggled to score runs lately. They had 10 runs in last night's win. They've got 7 here tonight.
Thirteen more hits for the Angels tonight.
Start of the series, they had a 4.1 runs per game average for the season. And they lived up to that in the opener. They lost 3-2. Getting just 7 hits, but boy, they've been swinging the hot bats lately. Last 2 games. So far, they've combined for 17 runs on 28 hits. Dustin McGowan was the starter for the Blue Jays, and he shut down the Angels. He gave up just 2 runs on 5 hits. McGowan had a great start. No walks, 8 strikeouts over his 5 innings of work. His best start since he rejoined the club. Dan Herron trying to stay loose on the Angel bench. He's held the Blue Jays to just 1 run on 4 hits. The only blemish, a solo home run given up to Eric Thames. It's a foul ball just beyond the glove of Adam Lind.
Angels have been talking the last couple of days. We got to take care of our end of the bargain right here. Just try and win games and then try and get some help from someone else.
They have a 3-game series against the front-running Texas Rangers. But right now they're not within 3 games.
From here they'll go home to play the Oakland A's in a 3-game series before they take on Texas at home. And they're hoping to get within 3 games before that big series with the Rangers. And then they can throw their 3 stud pitchers at him and hope to tie and force a playoff.
Just have to win your games, and that's what Mike Scioscia said. Started this series. All we can worry about is what we do. Another full count pitch. There goes Esturris at first, and Ibar takes the walk. John Farrell looking at his bullpen, seeing what he has down there, trying to figure out how to get out of this game. It's been a rough night for the bullpen.
I'm sure he's thinking, he was talking before the game today about Chad Beck. They want to see a little bit more of him at some point. Just 1/3 of an inning in Boston.
He's only thrown 1 pitch. Came in out of the bullpen and threw 1 pitch and got 1 out.
That's right.
That's been it. Bobby Abreu slices this one to left field. Eric Thames gets there, and the inning has finally come to an end. The Angels add 3 more. They take a 7-1 lead. Now it's time for a Jays Connected update. Jamie Campbell, Greg Zahn standing by in the Blackberry broadcast studio here at Rogers Center. Catch the Jays on Sportsnet Live online and on your Rogers smartphone. Now available for all Rogers customers. Sign up today at RogersOnDemand.com. From Hardy fans having a good night here at Rogers Center. And our cameraman enjoying a nosh.
What's new, Marty? Come on.
At least he brings enough for everybody.
Yeah, ball players included.
Taking care of the guys with peanuts. David Cooper takes a breaking ball just off the plate. Cooper was a late addition to the lineup. If you're just joining us, Brett Lawrie broke his finger in pregame practice. He was scratched and he has since been placed on the disabled list. He's done for the season. Cooper was inserted into the DH spot. Edwin Encarnacion, who was the DH, moved to third. Dan Herron is dealing here tonight. He's thrown 100 pitches.
I think with that windup and the stuff that he has, I think he could throw 200 pitches if he wants to. He's in great shape. His delivery is not a very stressful delivery. It's nice and easy. Lots of weapons, and this time that little splitter goes down and away from David Cooper.
One thing you don't realize about Dan Herron until you stand next to him down on the field, he's 6'5". He's a big man. Prototypical pitcher's body, boy. Long and lean and strong. Great foundation and a very sound delivery. Allows him to throw a lot of strikes. Coming into this game, he had walked 30 batters and struck out 180. Mike McCoy hooks it foul. A good strikeout to walk ratio is 3-1.
Yeah.
And that'll be among the leaders, and Herron has doubled that. He's 6-1.
Cliff Lee comes to mind, who has a very good strikeout to walk ratio. Roy Halladay comes to mind. And there's Dan Herron again. You know, you don't hear a whole lot about him, even within the baseball. He just does his thing year after year, just wins ball games. He's up amongst the leaders in lowest on base percentage. He's got the third lowest on base percentage in the American League, behind Justin Verlander and his teammate Jeff Weaver. Just a .265 on base percentage. You can see he's got that little hesitation, but that's a very sound delivery.
Very simple delivery as well. Breaking ball. Callaspo wide of third, throws McCoy out. Blue Jays 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Jared Weaver has been a real horse, and you talk to Mike Socia about Cy Young candidates, he'll be quick to point out Jared Weaver should be considered strongly for the Cy Young Award.
Jared Weaver was awesome in the first half. Remember that game he pitched against the Blue Jays in Anaheim? He was unhittable that day.
He keeps it simple as well, and he can come at you with a couple of different weapons. Aaron gave up a home run to Eric Thames his last time up. This time he crowds him with a hard breaking ball. Jared Weaver is 18-7 with a 2.41 ERA. Fouled off the catcher.
If Justin Verlander wasn't having the type of season that he's having, Jared Weaver would be the guy you would be talking about for the Cy Young, I think. Victories, low batting average against, lots of strikeouts.
Thames stays alive. There's quite a few interesting battles for Cy Young, Rookies of the Year, MVP going on in both leagues. Jared Weaver's going to get a lot of consideration. Up and away, 2-2.
Rookie of the Year is going to be very interesting. I think there's 4 or 5 guys who could win it. Mark Trumbull right there, J. Pierre Nsivia, Jeremy Hellickson.
How about Ivan Nova?
Eric Hosmer.
Hosmer had 5 hits last night for Kansas City. He's not going to win the Rookie of the Year, but how about Salvador Perez?
Yes.
Oh, my. That hit Dan Herron on the inside of that left arm, and he's in some pain. And they're not going to mess around, and he's going to go get it attended to quickly. Wow, what a shot. We saw David Price get drilled by Michael Vilas in the chest. Herron takes one off the forearm, man. That is nasty looking. But the Blue Jays are retired in the 8th. We'll go to the 9th. The Angels lead 7-1. Now for a connected preview. Here's Martin Geyer. And Herron threw a pitch to Eric Thames and took a shot off his left wrist.
That sounded like it was square. It didn't look like it got any leather on it. He just tried to pull his hand up just to deflect it with some of his glove, but it looked like it caught him square. And he went down. Watch this once again as it tries to pull up. Looked like it got him in the wrist area, the forearm area, and you hope it got the meat part of his arm. And then it's just a bruise as opposed to the bone.
Wow, I hope he's okay. That was a terrible shot. Chad Beck gets his second opportunity to pitch in the big leagues. We mentioned he worked 1/3 of an inning through one pitch in Boston, got out of it. There are his numbers combined between A ball, AA, and AAA, 31 games.
Heavy sinker for Beck. He'll use that fastball and run it right in on the right-handers. Look at that 2-to-1 strikeout ratio. 100 strikeouts for Beck in the minor leagues this year.
First pitch strike to Torrey Hunter. Thing that's appealing about Beck, reports are that he gets fastballs with in the strike zone and he gets outs with his fastball.
Two in a row right there. He had his contract selected on September the 7th from the Las Vegas team. Was a starter down in the minor leagues, but really looks more like a reliever with that heavy sinking fastball.
Wow. 3 pitches, and Torrey Hunter said, you know what, I don't like that guy. I'm not even going to swing at him, and he packs his bat back to the bench.
We haven't seen a breaking ball yet. You mentioned the one pitch in Boston, and now 3 straight fastballs to Torrey Hunter to set him down. That one 95 on the outside corner.
Dave Steve saw Chad Beck pitch in Reno during the summer in AAA, and Steve really was complimentary. Thought Beck really had a good arm and a live fastball and liked what he saw. There's a breaking ball. Beck also had an interesting observation by a pretty good player named Pete Rose. Pete Rose spent a little time in Las Vegas this summer and saw a lot of ball games at AAA. Saw the 51s play a lot. Alex Anthopoulos, the GM, when he was out to look at Kyle Drabek, noticed Rose at the ballpark, and they sat together. Rose had some nice things to say. He said, the guy I really like is Chad Beck.
Yep. And Beck said he talked to him because Rose came to a lot of games out in Las Vegas. And he said, if I was managing, I'd make you a reliever because you look like a reliever.
96 on the black. Rose said, you'd be my 8th inning guy right now. Fernando Rodney's the right-hander. Yoshinori Takahashi is the left-hander. Remember, Dan Herron was taken out of the game after the shot he took off his left wrist.
You know, the bad thing about that is that was probably going to be his last inning anyway. They had the bullpen up. He was up over 100 pitches. They want to save him. They've got a comfortable 6-run lead, so Mike Scioscia was probably just going to let him finish out that 8th inning. So we hope everything is all right with Herron. It's fun to watch.
Terrific pitcher. Breaking ball pulled to the left side. Encarnacion. Lynn made a nice play. Good stretch. He kept his foot on the bag, and Trumbull's retired.
Looked like the ball was sailing a little bit on Edwin Encarnacion as he gets to it. Just doesn't have enough time to close up that front shoulder and get his feet a little bit closed, so that ball's going to take off on him. Adam Lynn stays right with it and records the out.
Alberto Callaspo, he's had one hit. Very official at bats, 1 for 3. He had an intentional walk back in the 6th inning. (7-1) Angels. There's a base hit into center field. Callaspo's second hit of the night. A man on and 2 outs. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, Atlanta has really gone through a tough stretch. They lost 2 of their key pitchers in Jair Jurgens and Tommy Hanson. And they're trying to hold off the hard-charging St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals currently trail the Mets 4-3 in the top of the 7th in St. Louis. But if the Cardinals could come back in that ball game, they would close to within a game and a half of the Atlanta Braves in a National League wild card race.
How about that? A game and a half from Atlanta. And that's the only way that Atlanta could get in.
Vernon Wells has had a big night. Driven in 4. He's had 6 hits in the first 3 games of this series against his former team. 14 hits for the Angels tonight. They had 15 last night. Up and in. Peter Borges on deck. Is a double shy of hitting for the cycle here tonight. Had a triple in the 3rd, a home run in the 5th, and a single in the 8th. He also flied out. 3 for 4 so far. Wells cuts on it and strikes out. Borges won't get a chance. Good inning for Chad Beck. Couple of strikeouts. Jays live from anywhere, online or on the go at RogersOnDemand.com.
Ben Herron throws a lot of strikes, keeps the ball into the ballpark, and if you hit a ball against Peter Borges, you better get it out of the ballpark because chances are he's going to run it down. He takes away extra bases from David Cooper with a nice backhanded play as he runs into the wall. Borges has a chance to win a Gold Glove this year, and he shows you why right there.
Borges is a terrific young player, and he has had some night here tonight. Dan Herron, fortunately, had to leave after taking a shot off his left wrist. We hope he's okay. 8 innings of 4 hit ball. The only blemish on a great night, the solo home run off the bat of Eric Thames. That came in the 6th.
Couple of walks for Ned Herron. That gives him 32 on the season in 33 starts. Yusunori Takahashi will try to finish it up here for Mike Scioscia's Angels in the game for the 57th time this year. Very good ERA of 3.5. He has a lefty with a good curveball. You've got Lynn and Johnson, 2 of the 4 batters that he might face this inning. He gets Bautista to lead it off. That's a Takahashi pitch just the other night.
Takahashi worked an inning, came in the 7th inning, and got Kobe Rasmus. Got Kobe Rasmus and JP Arancibia to end the 7th, and then struck out Mike McCoy, but after the walk to Eric Thames, he was lifted. So he worked a total of 1 inning. Say Bautista takes the strike. Ooh, big slow curveball. And a beauty. 0-2. There's a base hit for Bautista. Bautista's aboard, nobody out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. He's got some interesting news. Boy, the back end of that bullpen has been very porous of late. Alfredo Aceves in the game, and they've stayed away from Bard tonight. Beckett goes 7 1/3. He is charged with all 6 of those runs. Adam Lowen takes over for Bautista. With that hit, Bautista's back over 300. 301 for the season. Remember, he had slipped below 300 for the first time all season long. And now he's back up over 300.
That didn't take long, did it? Right back after just 1 at bat. How about Baltimore? Making things difficult for some of these teams who are trying to get into the playoffs.
How about the Angels? If the Orioles can hang on, the Angels are 2.5 back in the wild card race.
Would they would jump over Tampa then, wouldn't they? Tampa still has another game to play. They lost today the first game, and they're playing in the second game. They're facing CC Sabathia.
The Yankees beating Tampa Bay 2-1. They're in the bottom of the 6th. Sabathia and Hellickson in that game. Pop back over the screen and out of play. So yeah, things are getting awfully interesting in both wildcard races. We started the month of September thinking, well, too bad there's not going to be any pennant races. Boston started September with a firm grip on the postseason. September 2nd, they had a 9-game lead over Tampa Bay. Angels weren't even a factor at that point. Then strikes out, fastball down and away. You want to see the postseason. We're not sure what the lineup's going to be, but you can bet it's going to be great baseball. Beginning September 30th, the 2 division series in the American League will start on Friday night. MLB playoffs, every postseason game, you can see it right here on Rogers Sportsnet. The American League starts on Friday. The National League Division Series will start on Saturday. And they have tightened up the schedule. American League Series goes Friday, Saturday with an off day Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and off day Wednesday, and they'll finish up on Thursday. So they've compacted the postseason schedule. Brett Lawrie explaining how that injury happened, and it hit the end of his finger. And it was a bad hop off the artificial surface at third base. He was taking balls off the bat of Brian Butterfield. Encarnacion pops it up shallow right field to second baseman. Makes the catch. Is Sturis 2 down.
That's some bad news that Brett Lawrie is going to be lost for the rest of the season. But it might open up some opportunities for some of the other young players that are up here, like Adam Lowen, getting a little bit more of a chance. Escobar has been put on the disabled list, so he is not eligible until the team gets to Chicago the last series.
David Cooper might get some at-bats. And Lawrie got a very good taste of big league pitching. Lowen goes to second base. It'll be defensive indifference. Adam Lowen will get some more at-bats, you would think. Brett Lawrie got 150 at-bats in 43 games. Pretty good sampling. He actually got to see a couple of teams back-to-back, so he could see how the pitchers were going to make adjustments to him.
And they've started to do that. Started throwing him a few more sliders. Not challenging him as much with the fastball.
Kelly Johnson hit a double off Dan Herron. He walked and grounded to first. Waves at that nasty breaking ball. So baseball, we got 8 more Blue Jay games left down the stretch. And things are getting dicey. Blue Jays will play the final home game tomorrow and then go down to Tampa Bay for the weekend series against the Rays. And their situation has gotten a little tougher. They lost last night, lost the first game tonight, and their trail right now, top of the 7th, 2-1.
That doubleheader that they're playing, Hellickson and Shields pitching in that for Tampa, so the Blue Jays will miss both of those guys. They've been tough on the Jays this year.
David Price will open up the series on Friday night, and then the youngster Matt Moore, hard-throwing left-hander, just 22 years old. He'll start the game on Saturday night. Kelly Johnson slices this to left. That'll get down for a hit. Lowen comes around third. He'll score. Kelly Johnson picks up his second double of the night.
He was taking batting practice the other day and hit a couple of balls to left field just like that. And John Farrell said to him, let me see 3 of those tonight. It's a good approach right there. Stay behind that ball. Let it get a little bit deeper. And then you can keep it fair down the left field line as he slices the ball to left. RBI for Johnson.
26th double of the season, with his combined numbers between Arizona and Toronto. Aaron Sevilla lifts it high and deep to center, but Peter Borges catches everything that stays in the ballpark, and the game is over. The Angels have won 7-2 behind Dan Herron. Herron will improve to 16-9. Peter Borges with a terrific day at the plate. He had 3 hits. He was a double shy of the cycle. Vernon Wells, his second home run of the season, part of a 2-hit 4 RBI night, and the Angels score 7 runs on 14 hits.
Very clean game for the Angels. McGowan was outstanding through the first 5 innings. This was a 2-0 game heading into the 6th inning. And then the Angels were able to get 5 runs on the board for Mike Scioscia's team. Plenty of runs when Dan Herron is on like he was tonight.
We'll be right back here tomorrow night in the home schedule wrap-up. The final game of the season here at Rogers Center. Henderson Alvarez goes to the mound. Angels win at 7-2. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Connected's next.